Hi friends, it's me, Desiree with Clearday. Welcome to today's Top 5. Today we're talking about classic hairstyles for men from the 1950s. Let's get started. So starting off with number 1, we have the ducktail. The ducktail was a popular haircut back in the 1950s. It is described as a slicked back hairdo. The hair would be greased, combed back around the sides, and parted essentially down the back of the head. To ensure that the hair was perfect at all times, the wearer often touched up their ducktail hairstyle many times during the day. They do this by running a greased comb right through it. Doing this led to a style of handling the comb. The wearer would draw the comb out of his back pocket, and while holding it using an extended index and middle finger out and running the comb through the two side wings of the hairdo to adjust the shape. Joe Cirillo, a barber from Philadelphia, said he had invented the ducktail in the 1940s. The ducktails quickly became an emblem for the young males across English-speaking world during the 1950s. In Britain, this hairdo comprised part of the visual identity of teddy boys and rockers, along with the quiff and the elephant's trunk. The ducktail hairstyle contributed to the term greasers. The brands of grease sold in this era included Black and White, Sweet Georgia Brown, Royal Crown, and Murray's. On the west coast of the U.S., pomades such as Dixie Peach or Burl Cream and tonics such as Wild Root Cream Oil were all popular. Lastly, the ducktail quickly became a stereotypical feature of rebels, mobsters, and nonconformists. And it gained popularity especially after the rise of rock and roll, the legend Elvis Presley. He himself sported this look. Although the ducktail was adopted by Hollywood to represent the wild youth of the 50s, only a minority of males actually sported the ducktail. Number 2, the pompadour and quiff. So the pompadour was one of the most recognizable rockabilly hairstyles. It is the look that has seen a significant resurgence in recent years. To ensure that your pompadour had the right retro touch, the wearers would keep it smooth. And while textural styles feel modern and contemporary, it's the sleek look that reflects a bygone era, one that the gents wouldn't let a hair fall out of place. The key to a perfect pomp was to add much needed height to the front of the hairstyle. This was achieved by using a large barrel brush and a hair dryer. You could also have more layering cut into your hair to help combat any extra weight that would stop the hair from getting sky high. Another men's hair trend that went hand in hand with the pompadour and a sense of rebelliousness was the sideburn. The look was seen on actor Marlon Brando in the film The Wild One, as well as actor James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, and soon it made its way into mainstream culture. Number 3, the butch cut and flat top haircut with fenders. A flat top was a type of short haircut where the hair on top of the head was standing straight up and cut to form a flat appearing top. The top was usually level, or it may have been upward or downward sloping. This type of haircut was performed with electric clippers, either by freehand or using the clipper over comb method. Some possibilities for the shape would have been the boxy upper sides with rounded corners, boxy upper sides with sharp corners, or rounded upper sides with rounded corners and rounded upper sides with sharp corners. The hair on the sides and the back of the head were usually tapered short, semi-short, or medium. A variant formed by several names, including flat top with fenders and flat top boogie, has long sides known as fenders with or without a ducktail. Flat tops were traditionally groomed with control wax, commonly referred to as butch wax. Certain hair textures did not require waxes or straighteners to maintain their hold. Since the haircut is short and quickly grows, maintenance haircuts are required at least every few weeks, and some flat top wearers get haircuts as often as once a week. The flat top has maintained a contingent of dedicated wearers since it was introduced. It was very popular in the 1950s, but faded in popularity with the emergence of longer hairstyles in the late 60s and 70s. It had a brief reappearance in the 1980s and early 90s before dropping off again. Number 4, the slick side part. Sharp, sleek, defined. The slicked back hair look evoked confidence in its wearer. This hairdo has long been a touchstone for rebels with style. In fact, this classic hairstyle has evolved from 18th century France to some of today's best red carpet looks. The side part hairstyle was one of the most popular haircuts of the movie stars, along with the slick back look. It was worn by stars like Cary Grant. This style, unlike the slicked back look, put emphasis on the part in the hair. The typical cut was neat and clean around the ear and tapered down to nothing at the nape, blending up to a longer top length set in place with products like grooming creams and pomades. This morphed into what we today call the fade. During the post-Depression period, for those who couldn't afford the barber, a home or backyard haircut was performed. These haircuts were rougher and ruder, with the back and sides of the hair clipped or shaved off, and they would have had a longer top. For hair control, they would have used a cheaper grease product. Today, these influences can be seen in current undercuts and disconnected looks. Number 5, the slick back and greaser slick back. Aside from the beatniks, the greasers were other major group known for their distinguished fashions. As portrayed in the novel The Outsiders, the real-life greasers were distinguishable by the way they would slick their hair back by using various combinations of at-home hair creams and gels, leather jackets, and various styles of boots. Rock and roll was a major part of the subculture. They are typically pictured with cigarettes in their mouth and their shiny pompadour hairstyles while riding motorcycles or fast cars. The greasers were the rebels who typically went for the bad boy look. They valued their looks and their bad boy image. They sought to be the rebels without a cause who acted out to simply escape boredom. After the war, American youths were looking for entertainment and identity following the war hero image from World War II generation. The subculture also featured deviant social behavior influenced by the way films portrayed greasers. While they tried to rebel against societal norms, they created their own norm in doing so. Some folk ways they practiced included acting tough in public, greasing their hair, and giving a thumbs up instead of waving while walking down the street. Hairstyles aside, the greasers had an obsession with the leather jacket when it came to men's fashion. It was iconic among the culture and viewed as a symbol of daring adventure, much like the pilot heroes who wore them during World War II. That's all for today's Top 5. We'll see you again next time.